Nothing's happened since. No woman's come forward. Nobody's hurt. Nothing.
Former kickboxer and Big Brother UK contestant Andrew Tate threatens to sue the host of a YouTube show for defamation. But can this suit succeed, and what is it really about? I'm Angenette Levy, and welcome to Law&Crime's Sidebar podcast. Andrew Tate claims that Ethan Klein, the host of the H3 podcast, called him a sex trafficker, among other things, and he sent Klein a cease and desist letter through his lawyers. Tate has been kicked off of several social media platforms for so-called misogyny and hateful ideology. And joining us to talk about this is Spencer Cornelia. He hosts his own YouTube show. So Spencer, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for coming on.
I think this is a really fascinating topic, one that's important for YouTube, and I'm fascinated to see what your opinion is on it.
Well, I don't have an opinion here. I'll offer a little bit later on, but, I'm just the person asking the questions. So tell us, you did a whole YouTube video about this. Tell us exactly what happened.
Sure. So Andrew Tate, recently banned, has been sharing a lot of extreme opinions on social media and has amassed a huge following and a lot of popularity. And a commenter channel, H3 podcast, they make a lot of videos about popular social media creators. And thus far, they've made at least 22, to my knowledge, at least 22 videos mentioning his name. And in those videos, they have mentioned that they have insinuated that he's a convicted criminal, of which to date he is not. And so I think it's going to present a really interesting legal battle if Andrew Tate decides to sue.
And so Andrew Tate obviously took offense to this. His lawyers sent the cease and desist letter saying, knock it off, quit saying these things about me. But Andrew Tate is also a public figure. And we know from covering defamation cases in the past that being a public figure kind of raises the bar for proving defamation. So in order to win this case, Andrew Tate would have to prove that these statements were A, not true, B, made with actual malice, as in Ethan Klein meant to cause him some type of harm. And I think that Andrew Tate would actually have to prove that he was damaged by this. So he's already been kicked off of TikTok and other platforms. So what are your thoughts on that, given the fact that he's already been sort of deplatformed?
Sure. In California, you have the defamation per se. And so I think and again, I'm not an expert in law in any regard, but calling someone fat or ugly or something, you'd probably have to prove damages to prove defamation. But I think there is a line that they've crossed where they've started making criminal accusations. And I would be really fascinated to see if they have to prove damages, the plaintiff side in this case, or if the damages are insinuated because they're making such vile criminal accusations. And that's when, if I knew the law more, I'd probably have a better opinion, but I'd be really curious about that.
Sure, definitely. And, it does, these are terrible things to say about somebody, to imply that they're trafficking in people for sex and may have even done things to children. Ethan Klein, he kind of talked about this only, in my opinion, very vaguely on his YouTube channel. He just kind of, the headline was Andrew Tate's going to sue me. And then they kind of just talked back and forth for a brief time during their show about it.
There were two instances that I felt were very clearly crossing the line. One of which was they showed a picture of Andrew Tate, a picture of him that he's posted to the internet, and then they edited it, Photoshop, to put him on a school bus with children. And they said, this is actually Andrew Tate's, what he does during the day. He sits on a bus with children so he can groom them into his sex trafficking business.
Cobra Tate does, and here's the reality. He's actually on the school bus.
Oh, no.
He like I said, he grooms, he gets them young, and just like a model scout, for his webcam thing.
That was one claim. And then there was another where Andrew Tate in a video claimed that he has recently rebuilt an orphanage in Romania, included pictures of him with assuming the kids from the orphanage. And Ethan Klein and his co-hosts reacted by saying, this guy has an orphanage? How do we let him have an orphanage? He's grooming these kids into sex trafficking.
Recently rebuilt an entire orphanage because there's an orphanage problem in Romania. I did this.
You didn't build an orphanage. Shut up. The Tate Foundation, that's probably just a funnel for sex trafficking.
Sounds like something the FBI should look into.
Yeah.
For real.
This man has an orphanage?
Okay.
Can we please alert the authorities?
Making me nervous.
I felt like those were very, very, very clear messages that Ethan sent, and I find that to be very defamatory.
Let's take a look at a video that Ethan Klein made talking about this issue.
Anyone that was following this knows that Andrew Tate has been crying about his right to free speech.
So, Spencer, what is your take on what Ethan Klein said after receiving this cease and desist letter?
I think he has reached a point where he is very comfortable saying whatever he wants. He is now 3 for 3 on defamation cases. He has won all 3. And I have to add that his first lawsuit that was dealing with defamation actually was very pivotal to YouTube creators as a whole being able to have freedom to say and to react and comment on other YouTube videos. So it was very important that he won that case. However, I feel like he's gotten too comfortable, and he is certainly shown an interest in making the most scandalous remarks about certain people, and I feel like he's crossed the line. And so I think with this defamation lawsuit, he's not taking it seriously because I think he can just win by claiming freedom of speech.
So you think he will win? Maybe that Andrew Tate's reputation is just that bad that Ethan Klein will win?
The reason why I find this case absolutely fascinating is I think he shouldn't win based on what I've seen, but also I think it will set an interesting precedent for YouTubers and where the line gets set and what you can and can't say. I don't think he'd win personally. I think Andrew Tate could win this one.
And why do you think that? You said you're not a lawyer, but why do you believe that?
Yeah, from my perspective, I feel like he's made claims that Andrew is a convicted criminal. When you call someone, I won't say the R word, R-A-P-I-S-T, and among other things, without any proof, without any victims, I'm going through my own defamation case now, and I have, of course, I'm not an expert in the matter, but I feel like I'm certainly better served to speak about this than other YouTubers. I've noticed in my own case on how you have to present evidence. You can't just make accusations, and you need to present evidence of why you believe something to be true. And they can obviously point to certain videos online and just say, hey, this guy's mean, this guy says bad things about women. And while that might be true, you can't call someone an R-A-P-I-S-T or these other claims that he is sex trafficking women when there's absolutely no proof of it. There's a huge difference between possibly having women in your house, which there was belief that there was women in his house held captive or something, found out that that was not the case. That's certainly a different argument than sex trafficking. I mean, sex trafficking is a very heinous behavior, one in which I don't believe Andrew Tate there's been any proof showing that he's participating in.
Well, right now, there's a cease and desist letter. That's all we know. A lawsuit has not yet been filed, but obviously Andrew Tate has a lawyer. So we'll keep an eye on this and see where it goes from here. Spencer Cornelia, thanks again for coming on to talk with us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.